So Amex, $21,138.94.
It's payday. Let's budget my paycheck as somebody with $65,000 in credit card debt.
I'm $89,000 in credit card debt, and I'm here to break down my cards to tell you how much I have on each card and what my payment is each month on each card.
I was never taught financial responsibility, and at 25, I accumulated $12,000 in credit card debt. Now at 27, I'm completely credit card debt free, and my credit score went up 200 points. So here's everything I've learned along the way that wasn't taught to me as a child, and I had to learn when I put myself in this hole.
So Amex, $21,138.94. Well, that's crazy. What's even crazier? The minimum monthly payment is $717.55. Yeah, $717.55 minimum monthly payment. Okay, what's going on here? You made a minimum monthly payment. Then you purchased $1,533. That's crazy. That's an insane number. You know why that's actually insane? Because here's your credit limit now, because they lowered your credit limit because you don't know how to manage this. Would you like to join me in this conversation?
I don't know what was the purchase?
Oh,
dollars for what?
You don't even know what you purchased, buddy. That's purchases that you had.
Oh, purchases.
Yes.
I mean, it was probably just getting food and.
So, they lowered your credit limit because you can't manage this. The minimum monthly payment is absolutely insane for your income situation. What is it? Okay, 4,500, and the minimum monthly payment is 717. 717 divided by $4,500. 16% of your income goes to just one minimum monthly payment on one credit card, on one of your debts out of the many debts you have. Okay, so we decided to go purchase on it? Bullshit food? Which is what you're saying. We didn't even go through the purchases, but you're saying it's probably just me going and getting food nonchalant. You know, this is nothing. It's nothing. It doesn't matter. You think that's okay? You think that's acceptable? It's charging $511.28 in interest. That's okay?
No.
Then why the are you doing it?
I don't know. I'm just trying to, because I don't have money on my other cards. So what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed
not go out to eat? What are you talking about? If you do not have money, you do not go to Mickey D's. I don't know where you went, but we'll look at that in a second. Does that not make sense? How does that not make sense?
I mean, it does, but I don't know. I don't like to just sit in home, do nothing. It's just super hard for me. I don't know.
Go to a park. Both of us could use a few more miles of walking a day.
Yeah, I go out and do things, but
there you go. Mission solved. Problem solved. Mission accomplished.
Bam out of the Bayou says, "These videos always make me feel better." Anthony replied saying, "Finance 101 should be taught in schools. It never will be because overdraft charges and interest income is a multi-billion-dollar business for banks." Yes, I agree with Anthony. I think nobody is incentivized to teach financial literacy unless they are getting paid to teach financial literacy. This is why you rarely see it being taught in the school system. And this sets children up for failure because often most Americans don't know how to handle their finances, especially as they get older. They go on to have their own apartments, their own bills, their own expenses. Many people don't know how to manage their money, and it results in them getting these credit cards with these high interest rates, them being able to barely pay off these credit cards. Just like the gentleman said in the previous video, 16% of his monthly income is going towards those credit cards. And I think that shows a lack of discipline and a lack of overall financial well-being. And I'm so glad that he decided to sit down and talk to the other gentleman to hold him accountable and see what kind of corrections that he can make to his spending habits. Saudade Smith says, "Right, I have zero credit card debt and a $329 car payment and save $800 a month. Great for you." Rhea TB says, "It is. You can lead a horse to water. You know how it goes." Yeah, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. So I just hope that for the gentleman's own sake, he takes the advice of the financial advisor in the video. But let's continue.
I have been financially not doing great. I am a nurse. even though I am a nurse and I make good money, I don't have money, which is the sad part because of the choices that I've made still currently and the choices that I've made like previously, like from a couple of years. I am in credit card debt, and it's this unhealthy cycle that I have been putting myself into, and this just relationship with money has just never been something that I was talked about. Lifestyle creep is definitely a thing, and especially when you are trying to make a brand for yourself, when you're aspiring to do something that you want to do. And content creation has been something that I've always wanted to do. Being a YouTuber has always been something I want to do. I've always just wanted to be on camera. I've always just wanted to make a name for myself, whether it be like through content creation, being a YouTuber, being an entrepreneur, like whatever it may be. I always felt like I was meant to do something other than nursing. And so I think for years I have been continuously like, you know, going with the trends and like, you know, buying whatever everyone else buys so that like I can post about it and like, you know, be seen. But then I get caught up with imposter syndrome of not being enough. In order for me to become someone, I guess I was influenced by everyone else around me. So if I bought the next best thing, or if I like looked a certain way by buying these clothes, then I was gonna make an image, a brand for myself. And that turned into like so many like dumb purchases like along the way that I'm like literally paying for now. And don't get me wrong, I have been trying to get myself together when it comes to my finances, because obviously like I have money to pay my bills, I have money to like pay down the minimums on my credit cards, but a lot of the times I don't take into account like, money like for myself and money to, you know, just enjoy life. And most of the time like I'm struggling to even do that. So I think I've reached my breaking point. Enough is enough. Like living paycheck to paycheck, living with like the credit card debt and like the afterpays and everything, like I'm done. Like I'm so done. I want to be financially free. Like I don't want to have to worry about like, you know, if I'm gonna be able to eat. I just don't want to be in this cycle anymore, because it's like I want to travel, I want to buy a house, I want to get married, like all of these things. Like it's just like it's not possible until I take this step of paying off my debt. And not just paying off my debt, but like being financially literate and just understanding you can't always have your wants. You have to prioritize like your needs. And sometimes like I rationalize like my needs, my wants, to make them seem like they're needs. And I just need to get out of this toxic like mindset. Like it sucks. And I'm not making this an excuse, but I guess like impulsivity and like shopping addiction is part of ADHD. And sometimes I hate it. Like sometimes I like get mad at myself for having this ADHD and is the reason why I'm in this situation. But at the same time, it's like I need to remember, what can I do now to just like get myself out of this hole. So the reason I'm crying on the internet is to show people that like seriously, like do not like, I understand that, you know, I'm trying to be an influencer, I'm trying to be a content creator, and that goes with like promoting products, but like literally live within your means and only buy like if you have the money for it. Stop klarning, stop affirming, stop afterpaying, like stop just swiping the credit card, because like yeah, it may be fun like in the moment, but literally you will regret it if that stuff like just racks up and it's like years down the line and you're still paying for that purse that you bought like 4 years ago. Life is too freaking short for us to be paying money on stuff that we bought like a couple years ago. Life is too short for us to be paying for materialistic things. Instead, we should be paying for experiences, for like adventures and whatever it may be, like for new life, like chapters. And I don't know. Buying the next best thing is not worth your mental health. Buying the next best thing is not worth the emotional and financial burden that you're going to experience if you can't pay it off right away. If you're watching this and you are also in the same boat, like, you are not alone. This stuff is hard to navigate, and not a lot of people like talk about the realness about being in credit card debt or like even student loans. Like, I don't even want to think about like the student loans that I have and like my car loan. Like, that's another thing in itself. But if you're watching this all the way through, the one thing that I can say is that if you're going into 2025 with debt, specifically credit card debt, please make a plan to like get out of it, because I know I am, because I can't do it anymore. It's not cute anymore to just put it on the credit card or like I'll do some installment payments. It's not cute anymore. You're going to continue these habits, and it's going to take you so much longer to, one, pay for it, but two, unlearn those habits of impulse spending.
Spicy says, I'm also a nurse and I got myself into $12,000 in credit card debt and am literally living paycheck to paycheck. Thank you for being so vulnerable. I don't feel so alone. And she went ahead and liked all of the comments below as well. I would like to say it is a struggle for some to prevent themselves from spending so much money on things that they do not need, neither can they afford. And this is why having discipline regarding your finances is extremely important. She spoke on how she felt bad for not being able to keep up with people that she saw online, and that contributed to why she used to spend so much money and why her credit card debt is so high. And this is a problem that many Americans tend to have. They want to keep up with the Joneses. They wish to compare themselves to those that they see online, not understanding that many of the people that they see online are in a very similar financial predicament to themselves, where they're going in debt trying to keep up with people that they see online. Or those very people that you are watching are people that are in a far greater financial predicament than you are. So it is not good psychologically to compare yourself to them. You're going to put yourself in a financial situation that they are not in. And so overall, I think one of the things to take from this video is make sure you are spending within your means. Also, make sure you are living below your means. That is a way to make sure that you do not feel the need to use credit cards or get in debt in the first place. Another comment says, I'm a nurse working full-time, living paycheck to paycheck. I recently picked up a PRN job and was able to pay down $6,000 of debt in 3 months. The money is there. Another comment says, file Chapter 7 bankruptcy. 100% worth it. I'm currently debt-free except my car payment. In regards to the first comment, it is possible to pay off your debt, as this person said. And if you make the right moves, if you make the right adjustments within your life and make sure that you're budgeting your paycheck correctly, then you will be able to pay off your debt. It is not the end of the world. In regards to the second comment, I recently did a video and there was another lady that was talking about filing for Chapter 7 bankruptcy, where although you are debt free, your credit rating is so low that you can't get a loan, you can't get another credit card, you can't get a house. All of these things are things that will negatively impact your standard of living. So consider that before you file for any bankruptcy. Let's continue with the video.
It's payday. Let's budget my paycheck as somebody with $65,000 in credit card debt. So my husband and I both get paid bi-weekly, and so we both get paid at the same time. So this is both of our paychecks. Our total gross income for this pay period was $16,191. After we take out withholdings for taxes, we contribute to a dependent care. We also contribute to a flexible spending account plus 401k contributions. Our take home is $11,329. I just want to note that it is a little bit more than our normal paycheck because I received a bonus this pay period. So just note that. So with this paycheck, we pay our mortgage, which is $2,602. We pay our car payments, which is $1,600. We set aside 2 weeks worth of daycare, which is $940. We set aside money for our utilities, which is we estimate to be about $377. That is water, electric, gas, all of that. I also put all of our variable expenses on a credit card, and then every 2 weeks I pay that off. So here is what that breakdown looks like. We spent $387 on shopping. Now, I am a recovering shopaholic. I totally recognize that. I did buy my kids some new clothes. They're both going through growth spurts right now, so I bought them about $150 worth of clothes. I have 2 kids. I also bought myself, I needed some hairspray that I ran out of. I needed some body wash that I ran out of. But I also spent like $150 at Lululemon. I am not proud of it. I shouldn't have spent the money, but I also have lost a lot of weight and I needed some new workout pants that fit. I did get them on sale, so I got 2 pair. So we're moving on, okay? We're not talking about that. We're moving on. We spent $240 for our kids. This is swim lessons, and also they are part of a soccer program at their school that we have to pay extra money for. We spent $42 in gas. We ate out for a total of $82.76. We spent $629 on groceries. We spent $45 on our phones. This is specifically for like Apple Care. And we spent $54 on our dog. So that leaves us $4,300. Of that, I'm gonna take $500 and put it towards savings. Because I was laid off last year, I did a lot of freelance work and I'm gonna have to pay taxes on that. And I'm putting away money until I know what my tax burden is going to be. A total of $3,800 towards our debt. And that leaves us $61,200 in debt. So I'm currently going viral on the internet for having $65,000 in credit card debt. Let's talk about it. First of all, y'all are some mean motherfuckers. I'm not saying I don't deserve some level of scrutiny. I totally realize that. But like, you don't need to attack my looks and you don't need to attack me as a mother. But I wanted to talk about what we spent for us to get to $65,000 in credit card debt. When I lost my job, that was completely unexpected. I've already said this, but I'm going to say it again. I reported into the CFO. That means I knew how much money was in our GL. I knew that my bonus would be funded. I was getting accolades in my job and being told I was doing a good job. So I expected to get a large bonus. That is a huge mistake. I have learned my lesson. Because I was expecting a huge bonus, we dipped into our emergency fund and did some house maintenance. I also prepaid to have a tummy tuck because I had lost 125 pounds. I was scheduled to have a tummy tuck 2 weeks before I lost my job and also when I was expecting the bonus. What should have been my bonus meeting was a meeting me finding out I was laid off. Me being the breadwinner of our family, losing our income was financially devastating. And we did go into survival mode. I started dog sitting on Rover. I took a call center job just so I could make $9 an hour. And it was something that I could start doing immediately. My friend owned the company, that's why. I started pitching small businesses, social media packages so I could run their social media. I started taking any sort of UGC deals that I could get. That just kept us afloat. That income I brought in, plus my husband's income, paid for our insurance, it paid for our kids' daycare, it paid for our car payments, it paid for our house. I did not expect to be out of my job for 7 months. I got through a very long interview process, being told through the interview that I was going to get an offer, to find out after 3 months that they eliminated the position before I even started. And then luckily I found a job 7 months later in my field, making what I was making before, but we had put all of our variable expenses on credit cards. Groceries, electric, phone bill, Netflix. We did cut out a lot of stuff out of our lives. But we also had been living life like we were $400,000 a year earners. We had bought both of our cars before I lost my job. And because we had a sense that I was going to land something soon and I was earning enough to make my car payment or our car payments, it didn't make sense for us to get rid of the cars. So I finally got myself into a job and we had debt. And instead of focusing back on rebuilding our savings, paying off the debt, we spent a lot of money. We had Disney annual passes, so we were going to Disney a lot. We took a family vacation. We shouldn't have done that. I also have a very good friend of mine who is a single mother who was really struggling to make ends meet. I offered her a job. She came to work for me for a bit, and she wanted to go to cosmetology school. My husband and I decided to pay for her to go to cosmetology school, and we also paid for her bills for the 5-month program that she was in. We were paying her rent, we were paying her utilities, we were paying all of that for her. I don't regret doing that, but it cost me $15,000. That's money that I could have used to pay off my debt or put into savings, but she is now graduated, working in her field, making a very nice income for her and her daughter. And before that, she was going to be kicked out of her apartment. I did that because, again, $65,000 in credit card debt to me was a privilege. It was a Disney trip. It was a tummy tuck. These are not real problems. Being able to put a roof over you and your child's head is a real problem. And I was working and I could give her some money. Yes, those funds could have helped to go towards paying off my credit card debt, but I didn't prioritize it because I didn't think it was a priority. Now I'm prioritizing it. Again, by not doing stupid shit, I can pay it off in a few months. And I came on the internet to talk about my credit card debt because I want people to understand that even if you make what we make, you can lose your job. You can make one dumb financial move and be fucked. Thank God it's not like a health issue. Just losing my job was what caused this. And also using my emergency fund for something really not that important.
Shell says, never spend money that's coming for your bonus. I hope someone else hears that and doesn't make the same mistake. I couldn't agree even more. I think that was one of the worst decisions she probably made during this entire ordeal, was expecting money and spending money that she was yet to have. And that is part of the reason why she is in such a great amount of debt. In regards to helping her friend, I am one that believes in helping self before you help others, because I am not going to be able to help you if I am broke myself. But I do respect the heart of the lady. I do respect the mind of the lady. The fact that she was willing to put herself on Front Street and even sacrifice her own financial situation for the betterment of her friend, I think that that is a commendable act. Nonetheless, I think that she ended up in a financial predicament she didn't necessarily expect by getting laid off. And I also think that she made plenty of terrible financial decisions along the way. The combination of both of those things is what landed her in $65,000 worth of debt. Dino replied, yep, bought a BMW with the upcoming bonus that ended up being $20K less than we thought. Geez, this is exactly why you're not supposed to base your next purchase on money that you are yet to have. Resilient Wendy says, this is facts. I was in the process of buying a house and was anticipating a bonus to add to my DP savings, but no bonus. 2 years and counting, I didn't get a house. That is a sad, sad case. But let's continue with the video.
I'm $89,000 in credit card debt, and I'm here to break down my cards to tell you how much I have on each card and what my payment is each month on each card. I'm going to start with the smallest card and work my way up to the highest card. I do have 11 credit cards, so we're going to be here for a minute. The longer that you watch, the higher my payment is. So do your girl a favor and watch to the end. My first card is our Carter's credit card. It has $199 on it. My monthly payment is $30. My second card, Old Navy. It has $362 on it and a monthly payment of $30. Third card is our Citi card. It has $1,742 on it and the monthly payment is $85. Fourth is Shields. It has $3,057 on it and our monthly payment is $95. Next up is our Discover card. That has $4,969 on it, and our payment is $135 a month. Next up is Chase. That has $5,615 on it, and our payment is $153 a month. Next up is my personal Military Star card. That has $7,860 on it. The payment is $170 a month. Next up is my husband's Military Star card. That has $8,095 on it, and the payment is $175. These are the fun ones. Next up is our Visa Platinum. That has $11,503 on it, and our monthly payment is $285. Our Visa Cash Rewards card, that has a total of $20,371 on it, and our monthly payment is $520. Last but not least is our American Express that has $25,371 on it, and our payment is $620 a month. The total on these cards, a little bit more than I said on a previous video because they have been hit with some interest since then. So our total is $89,203, and that brings our total monthly payments up to $2,298. Follow along and watch me pay these off over the next few years.
Shar says, something my mother taught me when I was very young. There are wants and needs, and sometimes it's really important that you think about what you want as opposed to what you need. All the best debt is always hard to overcome. Yes, I think she and her husband have put themselves in a financial situation that is going to be incredibly difficult to lift themselves out of. It is crazy that people use credit cards to this extent. I don't even understand how you're able to sleep at night with that amount of debt hanging over your head, especially considering she is paying rent in credit card bills. Rent. $2,200 a month is rent money. You are just about paying a few $100s less than a mortgage. That is a ridiculous payment, and as I've said on earlier videos on this channel, that's not considering your groceries and your actual rent or actual mortgage, car payment. That's not considering interest. That's not considering any of these external factors that could lead you to being financially burdened even more than you already are. And I think that this is a point to make in terms of why financial literacy is so important. But let's continue with the video.
I was never taught financial responsibility, and at 25, I accumulated $12,000 in credit card debt. Now at 27, I'm completely credit card debt free, and my credit score went up 200 points. So here's everything I've learned along the way that wasn't taught to me as a child, and I had to learn when I put myself in this hole. So number one, credit cards are a resource. You should not be using a credit card unless you have that money in your account to pay it off every single month. I understand that there's situations like emergencies, whatnot, but I got into the trap of thinking that my credit card limit was money that I would have. I thought that I could spend $3,000 and I would just be able to pay it off no problem. Once you start racking up those numbers, you're only paying off the minimum and you're accruing interest. You are going to put yourself deeper and deeper into that hole. However, I look at credit cards as my resource because I use Capital One. It's one of my favorite credit cards right now, where I use my credit card for certain spendings and I earn back points through traveling, through Capital One shopping, but now I'm sure to pay that off. If you are struggling with debt, I highly suggest that you lock your credit card so you're unable to spend on it. I locked my cards, I stopped spending on them, and I focused on the avalanche method, which is my next tip. So you can either use the avalanche method or the snowball method to pay off debt. I personally like the avalanche method because interest rates on credit cards are disgusting and they will get you. So what I did was I had 2 different credit cards open. So I transferred one of my highest interest debts to a no interest credit card that allowed me to pay it off within 15 months. I paid this off in 12 months. Now with my other card, it was still high interest. So I focused on the avalanche method of paying the max amount possible to the high interest credit card and paying off the no interest credit card slowly. I just wanted to get rid of it, so I chose the avalanche method. Number 3, you need to learn how to live under your means. I got caught up in this life where I thought money came back to me and money did this. I was not working hard enough for that money to come back to me. I was being irresponsible. I was living above my means and doing things that I shouldn't have been doing to put myself in a good financial place. When you have credit card debt, you need to revert back to living under your means and paying off as much as you can. So I learned to be a minimalist. I stopped the overconsumption. I would use products all the way until they were empty. I wouldn't have multiple of the same makeup products. I wouldn't go out and buy clothes for an event. I was wearing the same clothes I had, and I took like a year off shopping. I did not shop for anything. I lived so below my means because my priority was to pay off this credit card debt. That is so hard in the era of overconsumption. If you struggle with this, I urge you to get off social media and realize you don't need everything that they're selling to you on their Amazon storefront. Number 4, say no. Say no to plans. You're gonna have to say no to vacations. You're gonna have to say no to that $1,500 trip up to the mountains. I know it sucks, but think about the fact that this is just a year or two of your life, maybe in a couple months, and you will never have to go through this again once you pay it off and you become responsible. Now, with that being said, one of the things that I tried to do in the beginning of paying this off was work on savings at the same time I was paying off my debt. I don't recommend you do that. Now I've learned to pay off your debt because it's not a flex to have thousands of dollars in a savings account when you have thousands of dollars in debt. So what I've done now that I am completely debt free is that I have switched all of my savings account to high yield savings accounts where I accrue, I think it's 4.6% APY, so I'm accruing interest every single month for my balance in there. Now I have multiple different savings accounts. I have my 401 and my Roth IRA through work, so that's already taken care of somewhere else. Then I have my standard checking account, which is where my deposits come in, where I'm paid. I have a separate checking account, which is for my auto expenses. These are student loans. This is rent. This is utilities. I separate out that money right away every single time I get paid. Then I have 3 savings accounts. One of them is an emergency for, God forbid, any emergencies, job loss, whatever, 4 to 6 months worth of expenses. I have a car fund because I want to buy a car outright. I don't want a car payment. And then I have vacation sinking funds, shopping sinking funds. So doing all of this, the emergency fund is your safety net. The car fund and the other sinking funds are basically already putting money aside every single week. So when I want to go on that expensive vacation, when I want that expensive treat, whether it's a bag, clothes, I already have the money there for it. I'm not pulling out my money from my paychecks because I don't want to live paycheck to paycheck. I want my money to earn me travel points. I want my money to earn me more money. You have to be smart with your money to make it in this world, and that was something I was never taught. So I hope that this helps someone else, and I hope that it reminds you to never accrue credit card debt because it is one of the dumbest things that you can do in your life.
I wanted to showcase that final video to show everyone that it is possible to pay off your credit card debt. All you need to do is remain focused and disciplined to ensure that you are not spending above your means, you're living below your means, and prioritizing the debt that you wish to pay off. A comment by Shivani Patel says, I paid off $15,000 in a year. It's doable. You just have to have the mindset for it. Megan replied stating, heck yeah, you're amazing. She also said, also remember, accepting it is the first step. Stop avoiding and accruing interest. Interest is the devil. Interest will cause you to spend far more money than you should on an item that you probably couldn't afford in the first place. If you spend the minimal amount to pay off an item at the end of every month, that credit card will continue to accrue interest and you'll have to pay off that item 2, 3, or 4 times more than it is actually worth. This is why credit cards are extremely dangerous, and if you do not handle them well, it could put you into a financial sinkhole. Sophie Money Tips says, we should all be taught this in school. Megan replies, I highly agree. I feel disadvantaged because my parents were amazing but didn't teach me anything financial. It is very unfortunate that some individuals are raised in households where their parents do not teach them financial literacy. Overall, I think it is an American problem because in a capitalist society, people put profit over others. And that is why we see so little financial literacy happening, but so many financial predatory scams happening all across America. And I also want to speak on another point that Megan made in her video. She talked about how removing social media allowed her to remain more focused on handling her business and making sure that she handled her finances in a way that was good for her, not to look good for the people around her or the people that she saw online. I cannot stress how critical that is. If you are not operating for your own best interest financially, what you'll do is compare yourself to others, causing you to be in a position that is not in your interest for your future. But I hope you all enjoyed this video. Like, comment, and subscribe if you would like to see more, and I will see you in the next one.